So, Randy, can you kind of tell us what is this remake? What are they doing?
Okay, so
are they going to screw up my beloved?
So that's the thing. It's like, this is weird because it's not like a traditional remake, like what you'd imagine in your head as like a completely ground up, like they're redoing the game.
Like Final Fantasy VII.
Right. It's not like that. Instead, it's more like a retexture almost. I mean, they are changing some things from what I understand, but the main thing that is changing is they've redone all the assets. And it's not like they just up-res the assets. They completely redid them.
Yeah.
They are changing character models. They're doing all that stuff. So it's a complete overhaul and a complete remake of all the visuals, primarily.
Yeah.
But on top of that, they are changing the enemy AI.
Yeah.
So they'll be more intelligent, maybe more like what we saw in Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
And then they are also changing some combat, maybe the mechanics of the combat, updating those. And that's about it.
Yeah. Do you know if we're going to get a dodge like in Part 2? Are we going to have the dodge mechanic?
They didn't say specifically, but that would be cool.
That would be cool. I mean, it would change some things. But if they're changing enemy AI, it makes sense, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of seems like their goal is to make it so that you have The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. They're both, basically playing like the same game. They have the same mechanics. It feels like that's their goal here.
Similar visuals. I bet they're in the same engine and stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's what the remake is. It's not a traditional remake.
It's like a remaster on super steroids.
Yeah, it's weird in between. But I suppose if you had to categorize it, you'd say it's a remake.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the question of, did The Last of Us need a remake? Because one of the very first things, Catherine, my wife, was gone during when this announcement. She was not there. And she came home and I said, oh, Last of Us is getting a remake. She was super confused. Because she had watched me play The Last of Us Remaster, because this has already been remastered for PS4.
Right.
And she said that game looked phenomenal. Why would it need a remake? And I agree. The game did look real. The remaster looked really good. It was HD. It looked phenomenal. But it was It was an up-res, right?
Right.
So I think a lot of people don't think this game needs a remake.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is really a discussion about the definition of need versus the definition of want. Because, The Last of Us is, in my opinion, the best game of all time. No, it doesn't need a remake. But do I want one that makes it play as good as Part 2, look as good as Part 2, but not change the story? Yes, sure. Why not? Why wouldn't I want that?
Right. No, and I think you're saying like not change the story. Like they've made it very clear. They're using the original performances. They're doing all the original motion capture. They're just changing out the models and stuff.
Yeah, they said, at Summer Games Fest that they just went and rewatched performances from the actors, and they can just now make it look more accurate to what they actually did.
Well, I think they had all the capture, like the motion capture, so they were able to just make it even more accurate, right? So they're really. It's not like they redid this game. It's really weird. Like you said, it's like a remaster on steroids.
Yeah.
But I mean, the game did look really good already.
It did.
So this might be a kind of like, it's an indulgence. It's not a need. But I do think that it's pretty cool. One of the things that's interesting about this is that it's going to be a PS5 exclusive. I think it will eventually come to PC.
There is a PC version in development, they said.
But for a while, it's only going to be on PS5. And that's interesting because, well, I mean, we're going to start to see that more and more. But this won't be on PS4. On PS4, you'll still just have the remaster. You won't have this remake. But I think it being a PS5 exclusive, I wonder how much work went into this. I mean, it has to be a good amount of work.
I'm thinking quite a bit.
But, because they're using all the original stuff, they're basically retexturing everything, new models and everything. They obviously wanted to port The Last of Us to PS5. And this is a way to do it and,
make it worth it.
Make it worth it and get people to pay $70 for it.
That's right.
Because this will be a $70 game.
Yeah, and if I can find any copies of that collector's edition in stock, I'm going to pay $100.
That's $100. Yeah. Wow.
because I want it.
Well, you don't have a physical copy of The Last of Us to begin with.
Actually, I do have one in the mail. I got one through GameStop real cheap.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I got a part 2 as well.
Oh.
When this got announced, I was like, you need to own these physically. Like, yeah. So I ended up paying like less than $30 for both games.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
No, not at all. That light over there's flashing again. My goodness. Guys, if the lights are flashing, our apologies. We're having some trouble.
Sorry, guys.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, my thought is I'm excited about this. I'm going to play it.
Mm-hmm.
That was my question at the end, is like, are we going to play this?
Duh.
Of course we're going to play this.
I want to stream it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already been talking about
how we're going to do
that as a collective effort.
Yeah. I mean, it's The Last of Us. Of course we're going to play it. And they know we're going to pay the $70 and buy it, or Daniel's going to pay $100. I don't know. I'm not that interested in the collector's edition, but
well, we've talked about how some games aren't worth full price and some games are worth more, right?
Yeah.
Like we use Breath of the Wild as an example. Like, you know, that game is worth $200. Like that's a great game, right? And I feel the same way about The Last of Us.